Live from Columbus, OH. It's the Ramsey Show After Show. No, it's not. It is not that at all. This is Ramsey Coach Support with Coach Steve Money. And let me just put a couple things in the chat, and then we'll get started here. Schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment at Calendly, CALENDLY.com. Calendly.com / Coach Steve Money. You can email me about anything that is Ramsey related, anything that's on my YouTube channel, like Oak Island, video gaming, computer stuff, etc., etc. Even the songs. Check out, if you haven't heard my Baby Steps song, it's in the music playlist on my channel. Baby Steps song. Also have a John Deloney song as well on there, and John Deloney reacting. Me reacting to John Deloney reacting to the John Deloney song. As I was saying, you can email me about anything, and that is CoachSteveMoney@gmail.com. And donations, HTTPS, PayPal.me/Coach Steve Money. And these links are at the top of the chat, and they are in the video description. All right, big week at Ramsey Solutions. It's the last chance to pre-order Dave's new book. You get $100 worth of extra stuff if you pre-order it from Ramsey Solutions. And that book comes out tomorrow. So it's the last chance to get that book. And it's $20, and you get the $100 worth of free stuff if you buy it from them. And that is, again, tomorrow on January 11th. And on Wednesday, January 12th, it will be George Camel's debt-free scream. His wife will be there. The mod's trying to get him to take his dog to work that day, and be there as well for a debt-free bark, I guess. And so that is Wednesday. And then Thursday night is this live stream, Building Wealth in 2022. That's Dave Ramsey, Rachel Cruz, and George Camel participating in that. And that is Thursday, January 13th, 7 p.m. Central Time. Alrighty. And so big week for them. What this stream is Ramsey Coach Support, and basically that's where I go to reddit.com. You've heard of Reddit. That's where you should get all your financial advice from, right? Kidding. People do get that. That's where you get the meme stocks and so forth. There's the Wall Street Bets subreddit where they hatch the idea of the GameStop stuff, I believe. But let's see, we want to go reddit.com/r/Dave Ramsey. And this subreddit is not run by Ramsey Solutions. It's run by fans of Dave. They do allow negative stuff on here. We'll see if we see any. I mean, not negative towards each other. They do ask you to remain civil, but they allow you to freely criticize the way Dave runs his company, his plan, etc., etc. So we sort by new, and here we go. Good stuff. Samantha asked for advice for her mom. She's in her mid-50s and has about $45K in a 401(b). She has about $35K between student loans and a car. Also about $110K on her mortgage. She has around $20K in the bank. She does not have a Roth IRA or other savings or retirement. I suggested finding an ELP, the baby steps, paying down debts, opening a Roth IRA, using an HSA. with all great ideas, but she is very focused on investing in her retirement by using her savings account to invest in something. She wants to meet with her commercial bank to see what kind of savings account they can open for her. I'm wary of this, but I've only used a credit union. Any advice I can pass on to her? I don't know. Using her savings account to invest in something. You don't use a savings account for investments. I mean, you could use a savings account to save or something and buy something that's investment like a house. I don't know what else would be suitable for that, but a better place for that would be a brokerage account. If you have 5 years, like if you want to save for 5 years for a down payment for a house, as long as you do have the 5 years that Dave recommends, you can put that in an S&P 500 index fund, and you can make 10 to 12% on that money. So, but I'm not seeing what you've suggested. All the right stuff to do, and she should open a Roth IRA in addition to having her 401(b). Oh, ran right by it. She has $35K between student loans and a car, so no investing. Supposed to stop investing and pay off that debt first. Okay, so there you go. Doesn't need an ELP. Doesn't need an ELP. Needs to do the baby steps though, like you said, paying down debts. And yeah, you don't do any investing while you're paying on non-mortgage debts. Do I ever comment on the post I see on Reddit? Every once in a while, I'll type something in there if it's something quick, but normally I don't do that. Every once in a while. Casey, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Oh, let's see what other people have to think. Love your heart. Don't even. Parents are set in their ways. Yeah, Dave always says, as far as your parents, you can't talk to your parents about, once somebody's put a diaper on you, once somebody's changed your diaper, they don't want to hear from you about sex or money. So, but yeah, with a 20K or 19K of it, pay off the car. Yeah, get that car paid off. That's probably a lower debt amount than the student loans. So definitely pay off the car. Take the 20K down to 1K. Do the baby steps in order. You don't need a ELP yet. You don't need to do investing yet. You don't need to open a Roth yet. Don't need to use an HSA. Well, you can use the HSA if you're going to use those, if you do have those medical expenses. At the very least, she needs to use a brokerage like Vanguard or Fidelity for Roth IRA. Banks are terrible places to invest. Yeah, they do have high fees, and they generally don't allow you the versatility to invest in whatever you want. They generally have very few choices on there. So yeah, following the baby steps would be the thing to do. All right. Seeking feedback on baby steps 4, 5, and 6. I talked about this in the Ramsey Show After Show earlier. And this person is in a much better position than the previous situation. 100K in cash savings, 6 months of expenses is 46K. So yeah, so that's another thing. We don't know if the 100K includes the 6 months of expenses, which that would be emergency funds. So we don't know that. Putting 15% a month towards retirement, 10% a month towards baby step 5 because she has one child 2 years away from college, second child 5 years away from college. So that's why that needs to be probably higher than that. 5% to cash savings, sinking funds, makes bi-weekly payments on the mortgage to accelerate baby step 6. Okay, savings is high because I need to buy a new car, and this was my biggest problem with this. Because I need to buy a new car. So the amount that you will pay for a new car, very possibly, if we're talking about community college and then 2 years at an in-state school, the new car cost could pay for that. So I would say pass on the new car. So don't know that need. And if you need a new car, I mean, need a car at least that's new to you, get a used one. Let's see, and plan to get a new HVAC. Do you need that even? Can that be put off any? So it wants to know if it sounds like a Ramsey approved plan. Did FPU? Would appreciate some feedback. Finished it a while back. Don't think I need a full-fledged financial planner. All right, well, again, we don't know. I mean, if we assume that the 46K is part of this 100K, then that means you have 50K in cash savings. And so basically that could pay for one kid, and not getting the car pays for another kid to go to school. So then you would basically have that taken care of, and then you can still do your bi-weekly. But it depends on what you have if you have other savings, other sinking funds for something else. So it's unfortunately not enough information here because not explicit. So if they have the 6-month emergency fund plus the 100K in cash savings, well, then of course, that's a different story. But that instead of being cash savings, that should be split up between these items, between the 10% a month. Excuse me. That's where that should go first, because that's first. 15% a month is actually first on the 4, 5, and 6. You do baby steps 1, 2, and 3 separately in order. You do 4, 5, and 6 at the same time in order. So you're doing the 15 a month to retirement, good, check. 10% a month towards baby step 5, check. And you could even throw more in there from this 100K. And 5% to cash savings / sinking funds. But you don't need any savings unless you have sinking funds for something. You don't need any savings unless you are planning to buy something. And so it just depends on the new car. What's more important, you to get a car or you to have the kid college paid for? And then maybe if you think you need a new car at some point, maybe in 3 or 4 years, and then you can sell whatever used car you buy if you even need to do that. As far as the HVAC, if it's needed, it's needed. But you can't do everything, and I think that's how I ended it earlier on the Ramsey show. After show, I said you can't do everything all at the same time. You have a limited amount of income, so you can only do what you can do. And so trying to have the savings, which may or may not include the emergency fund, investing, saving for kid college, making bi-weekly payments to the mortgage, and trying to do all this other stuff, new car and HVAC, you just can't do it all at the same time. So you have to prioritize. Alrighty, here we go. This from Boho Specs. Got the baby step 5 player there. So technically baby step 4 and 5. Baby step 4 never ends, even when you're 7. But I guess if you're in 7, you're smart enough to know that that's still going on. So assume doing the investing as well. Where to park baby step 5 funds until ready to commit to an option. So we have a lovely 7-month-old son. Finally have a house down payment saved up, waiting to buy for now. Okay, baby step 5. Husband's prepping to switch careers. Both hate the state we live in and will likely end up moving next year. Makes me shy away from opening a state-specific 529. Absolutely. However, like most features of it over the ESA option. Okay, yeah, I would wait till you get in a state and that child is old enough, is young enough so that you definitely have 5 years. I would park it in an S&P 500 index fund, put it in the market, and then you can take that out and then you can start your 529 and have both going on. So other than a traditional savings account over the next year, yeah. So if you do a money market high yield savings account, you get 0.5% a year. So since you have the time, because the child is not going to college at age 6, unless they are really really talented, then you do have the amount of time, and you can use the market to save for a purchase. You do have to put it in a regular brokerage account though. And so as soon as you get to a state where you can do the 529, then definitely do that and max that out first before putting it in a non-retirement brokerage account. But the non-retirement brokerage account is better than just putting it in a bank. So edit. Thanks to everyone. Felt a little overwhelmed with everything out there, and I appreciate all the feedback. Have a great day. So 11 comments. They must have really had a bunch of opinions for her, so we'll stay out of that too. Yep. You made a post on Reddit a few days ago for me. Oh, okay. All right. Well, fine. Maybe we'll get to that one then. Yeah, I don't check it. I don't check it every day or anything like that. I do Ramsey coach support every alternate Monday, and on the other Mondays I do tech support. Which is mostly computer questions, and I do that on the tech support subreddit. So it's the same kind of show, me talking, running my mouth, and based on my 20 plus years of doing PC repair, and of course I use my financial coach master training to answer these questions in the Dave way. This is from Dapper_Don Draper. That's what was the name of that show? It was the one about Mad Men, about advertising executives. Currently paying extra on the mortgage. What frequency should we do it in? We ended 2021 with paying a whole month extra, a while month extra. I think that means whole month extra. Going forward, should I pay the extra monthly or save it for a year, the end of year payment? No, you put it there as soon as possible, as soon as you get it. That's a every month thing, or even more than that if you want, but probably once a month is good enough. You just send one payment, or depending on how your bank does, maybe they would like, and if it's principal only, maybe you have to make it differently, or they'd like you to make a different payment than the actual mortgage. So see what your bank wants you to do so that it doesn't accidentally just get paid ahead on the mortgage, and that it actually gets applied to principal. So find out what they're doing. But yeah, it's where you are at your baby step 4. You're investing 15% and only 15% while you still have a mortgage. Only 15%. After you pay off the mortgage, you can invest however much you want, because you'll be on baby step 7. So that's the 15% investing. Save for kid college if that applies. Make sure you're doing that. And then any other extra you have, and it can be every week, every 2 weeks, depending on how much you get paid, or you can just hang on to it for a month and pay at the same time, do additional payment, or add it to the mortgage payment when you do that payment. So But yeah, you don't save it for the end of the year because if you pay extra monthly, that's less being interest added to. That's less interest because it's a lower amount. All right. The Did You Hear the Ramsey Show discussion for January 10th? So that's like show specific ones. And sometimes that's where people would put the negative stuff. Let's find out. As you say, talk about today's show here in this regular discussion thread. And sometimes they don't follow, they don't, realize to put it in this, but we'll see. Maybe someone has answered this before. Couldn't find anything. Why did Dave have a black fingernail and ring on his right hand? Don't know about, I don't know about the ring. On the right hand? That's going to be his wedding ring, I would assume. I've only seen a wedding ring on there. But the black fingernail just looks like he smushed it. Oh, caught it, slammed his finger in the car door. I've done that. That was not fun. I did that, and then stupidly I pulled it out like that and ripped it, made it worse. So, okay, so that's not as bad as I thought it would be. Sometimes it's worse than that. Now this one definitely is one where there could be negative stuff. Daily non-baby steps. Dave and company discussion thread. Again, keep it civil and be respectful to each other. Let's see. Index funds versus mutual funds. Thoughts. Manage mutual funds for, you're not there yet, you're in baby step 3B. Actually, you can do that at the same time. Or you can hold off investing for 3 years if you want to save a higher down payment in baby step 3B. But manage mutual funds for retirement investing, S&P 500 index fund for saving for a purchase if you have 5 years. And the reason for that is because 40% of mutual funds beat the index. And a lot of people are like, no, it doesn't. You can't, because you can't keep, it's not necessarily going to be the same mutual fund every year. So you might have to change them over more than you would like to. That kind of thing. But Dave's had the same ones, I think, and Dave always made more than the index fund. So, and there's like additional fees and stuff with the managed mutual funds, etc. But these 40% that Dave is talking about, they also make enough to cover the difference and still beat the index fund, even if you take the fees out of it. So that's the reason on that. Oh, was that yours? Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason on that is because you can. I mean, if you don't think you can, if you don't want to, I mean, I get people not wanting to bother with it. Even some people not wanting to learn about how to pick mutual funds, that kind of thing. Not wanting to hire a SmartVestor Pro or any other financial planner. That kind of thing. I understand all that. That's not Dave's advice. So, and Dave seems to know what he's doing. So, otherwise we wouldn't pay so much attention to him. So, but yeah, so that, I mean, that to do managed mutual funds, it requires you to pay more attention. Absolutely. But if you're not going to do anything, or in the example that you were just starting investing, so you're $1 investing, you have not invested a cent, and you don't have any extra savings up. You got your baby step 3, your full emergency fund saved up. And so then you're ready to do baby step 4 and invest 15%. So that's going to start with 15% of your next check. You don't have a big pile of money to hand to the SmartVestor and say, invest this. And you don't have that. And so some of them won't work with you. And that happened to quite a few people that are regulars in the chat. And some of them will not. Some of them will. Some of them will work you from $1 investing. Some of them say, come back when you can make us some money. Basically, is it come back when you have X amount of investing. capital. But better than not doing anything would be put it in an index fund. Then fine, that's better than not doing anything. So I see where you could get into situations like that, and you could, make it so that if you're only going to do an index fund because you don't know enough about the rest of it to do it, then yeah, put it in an index fund. But the advice is to learn about it and do manage mutual funds, just because that can make you more money. Interview on Wednesday for a second job. Whatever I make over $200 a week at that job, I'm gonna be investing it. Is do 15%, dog. 15%. Don't go over 15%. You have other baby steps to do, right? Unless you're not going to get a house. So I would advise to not go over 15%. All right, let's see. This is better than I deserve 22. How would Dave answer? A lot of times that's a phrase, what would Dave do, or WWDD. All right, better than I deserve 22 says, I've watched a fair number. Let's go to the whole thing because it's going to be a lot, I think. Watched a fair number of Ramsey YouTube videos. Generally agree with Dave's advice. Great. I have considered calling in to get his take on a situation I'm in, but prefer to stay somewhat anonymous and hear everybody's feedback, as well as predictions of how Dave would answer my situation. All right. Well, when you call, you can give a fake name, or you can ask that they change it on the air, so you can remain anonymous. And they change cities sometimes too. So, all right, quick snapshot with some rounded numbers for simplicity. That always works. Excuse me. Household income of $275K in a high cost of living city. All right. So that may not be that great. If it's California, it's not that great, but it sounds like you can make it. Own the duplex worth $1.7 million and have a mortgage of $1.2 million. Okay, so you got that 100,000 equity in that. All right, a renter pays us rent for the second unit, and that's something Dave doesn't recommend you do, because you do not want to live next door to your tenant. So after the renter, our mortgage monthly plus taxes and insurance is roughly $3,500. Okay. That still should be fine. To reach this point where my family lives in our dream home with $500K equity, and a renter, is the duplex the dream home? With $500K equity and a renter paying half a mortgage, we completed a multi-year renovation of our property while renting elsewhere. Not surprisingly, this process went over time and over budget. Yeah. Had a construction loan that covered up to $1.2 million of costs. Purchase plus renovations. Would not be recommended by Dave Ramsey. This covered the majority of the project. The initial appraisal was $1.5 million. Fortunately, in the 4 or so years since we started, the property has appreciated roughly $200K. The most recent appraisal is $1.7 million. Okay? To help complete our house, I broke several of Dave's rules. Use credit cards, is that right? Yeah, okay. Well, why are you even in the Reddit, in the subreddit? Why do you even want to call him? Because the answer is always undo what you did, get back to where you're following all of Dave's rules. But okay, one rule I broke is that I borrowed $50K from my 401K to get our house's renovation across the finish line. It's always something. I mean, it doesn't sound like you broke some of his rules. It sounds like you broke all of his rules. I know Dave says never to do this, and I regret doing it. Right. Well, should have listened to Dave. Okay. But you didn't. We're here now. Every month, roughly $1,000 is withheld from my post-tax pay to repay my 401k loan. The interest rate is only 3%. Doesn't matter. I'm paid to myself. Doesn't matter. But the missed gains really bummed me out in 2021. My 401k investments were up around 25, right? Well, I only paid back 9% of the principal on my 401k. If you have any kind of savings or anything like that, you might be, although paying for this renovation thing, you might be paycheck to paycheck. Okay, the question. That was a lot of good synopsis there. The question is, have 41k of a 401k loan outstanding in addition to other debts beside the mortgage. There shouldn't have been any renovation. Should not have been any reservation with if you had other debts already. Given that monthly cash flow is down about $1,000 for the next 4 years, as this 401 loan gets paid back. Okay, that's not the way to think about it either, is to, well, that's set in stone that it has to be that long and we can't pay it back quicker. That's bad too. Wouldn't it be wise to do a cash out refinance or a HELOC on the 500k? You remember that time when you said, I know Dave says never to do this, and you regret doing that? You remember when you said that up there? Apply that to right there. Dave says never to do this, and you'll regret if you do that. Equity in my home to increase my 401k balance for better. Yeah, you don't take out a loan to invest. Increase the monthly cash flow to move to more quickly do baby steps 2 and 3. No, you're doing it all wrong. This doesn't have anything to do with Dave. I understand it's somewhat robbing Peter to pay Paul. No, it's not. It's robbing yourself to pay all this debt you're taking out. But my mortgage would be a fixed rate, lower than a longer period, and I would maintain over 20 plus equity. The equity doesn't matter. Equity doesn't matter. You taking out the equity matters. And appreciating high cost of living city. You don't get a pass for being in a high cost of living city. Would have better better monthly cash flow to reach baby steps 4, 5, and 6. No, you wouldn't, because until you pay all those back, the HELOC, that's a baby step 2. HELOC's a baby step 2. So if you took that out, you'd still be back in baby step 2. So you're not doing anything except screwing everything up. Would Dave just tell me to eat rice and beans until my 401k loan is paid back as is? You can pay it back in advance. Unless they for some reason won't let you. I can't imagine that. Would Dave tell me to sell the house, pay off all my debts, and put at least 20% down on a house with a 15-year mortgage? That is no, yeah. I do not find this advice helpful as I want to stay in this house. Well, as we discussed earlier, you cannot have everything. You can't try to get ahead on the baby steps and then break all the rules that the guy that invented it says to do. Would Dave say if I do consolidate debt, you don't consolidate owing to the refinance, that I should continue gazelle intensity to paying down the principal until I can refinance into a 15-year mortgage? Oh yeah, see, it's not you know why it's not a 15 mortgage? Because you couldn't afford the payment on a 15-year mortgage equals you can't afford the payment on the house. If you got to do a 30-year, that means you can't afford it. Oh, also, Dave says to pause the baby steps while expecting, right? We have a baby this summer. See, you can't do everything. Too many things. Trying to do too many things. That's right. Casey says that guy made every wrong turn. You're right. So, you know, I mean, I know this happens, but, you know, my first thought is to think, well, that's got to be a troll, right? Because he, like you said, he made every wrong turn. So, gotta be a troll. Let's see. I bet people are gonna burn him alive here. Despite your big income, you really aren't really following Dave Ramsey's baby steps. So why do you care now exactly? Oh, let's see if he gets back because of the OP, the original poster, better than I deserve 22. You make your Reddit name a Dave Ramsey thing, and you're so, oh, I need to break all of his rules so I can do the baby steps faster. Yeah. Anyway, All right. Why is it going to take 4 years to pay off a 40K loan when you make 275? Right. I want to know about that. You seem financially savvy enough to be able to do this. So I say go for it. Just understand you're not out of debt. You just shuffle things around and maybe saved on interest. Yeah. Yeah. Dave's thing is pay it off. You don't move it around. You just pay it off. Uh, I've heard Dave be more permissive with 30-year loans with people who are already homeowners when they find his program. Right, but he knew Dave's stuff when he did all his his renovations and stuff. So he already knew Dave's stuff. Moving the loan, not Dave has suggested moving the loan before. For example, when you're underwater in a car loan and you sell the car, you take a loan for the difference. Well, that's different because you're getting rid of part of the debt by doing that. You're not just moving it. Consolidating, doing cash out refi, that's moving it, where you're moving the total to a different loan, basically. Would not approve of refinancing the 401k loan. Of refinancing the 401k. And he says the same thing here. All right, I'll let that go. Reading this was painful, says Twissa. Yes. Dave tell me yes. And this wasn't, and remember that wasn't helpful because he wants to stay in that beautiful house. Well, something's got to give. I mean, you got to give up something that you want. If you want to stay in that house, you can certainly do it, but you gotta buckle down. He wouldn't tell you to blindly refi. Absolutely, only if the refi is better. You can pay extra on your mortgage to make it a 15-year mortgage. I'm sure he got a 30 because he had to. Dave says to pause baby step. Absolutely, pause baby steps. And so, but that also means you're not paying, it depends on how. I mean, did you know you were expecting when you started the renovations? If so, that was stupid too. Not following baby steps. So do what you want. Do you have an emergency? Family lives in a dream home. Dave would tell you those don't exist. Right, for like forever homes. He'd double down and say that was insane to spend that kind of money on a duplex. Exactly. Exactamundo. He'd tell you to pay out 401k a little faster. Blah, blah, blah. How old are you? Do you have any idea? Okay, so the original poster didn't give any information. He didn't answer any of the questions or give clarification on anything. All right, this from C-Slice 4295. Debt-free scream. So yeah, sometimes you get these on here as well, which is milestones, including the ultimate milestone, your debt-free scream. 108,000 paid in 24 months. That's 2 years to you and me. We don't really have any friends we can discuss our finances with, celebrate, so I'd like to celebrate with you all. My wife is going to give birth in a few days, her first child. Excellent. Use that and the new year as the last push to just get rid of the last of our debt, lump sum of my student loans. Actually, you were supposed to pause the baby steps until your wife and child get home safely. You're supposed to just pile up cash, so. But that's done now, so we'll go with the way things are now. We were making 140k a year, paid off 100k in 24 months. That's pretty good. Wife's loan, my loan, car payment, active duty military lawyer. The promise of public student loan forgiveness has been all my friends ever talk about. I earned a full ride to law school, so my loans, undergrad plus law school, are less than the vast majority of my colleagues. Okay. All right. Held on the loans for the last few years because I didn't want to make the wrong move by paying them off when PSLF promises forgiveness. Public student loan forgiveness. It's only, yeah, wild. I knew of the wildly low acceptance rate, but I just ignored that. Recent study showed 96% rejections or wrong military ends, but I just ignore that. And it seemed foolish to pay them off earlier. Okay, so we paid off wife's student loan, car loan, but again, okay. It sounded like he paid them off, though. Finally, enough was enough. I actually took the time to calculate how much it might cost me if I paid them off early. Everything worked it out perfectly, and I chose to stay in the military to maintain my eligibility for the next 5 years. And forgiveness did happen without a hitch. 96% rejections. I'm losing out on roughly $18,000 in forgiveness by paying them off. I don't mean to minimize that number, but that's not really that much when weighed against my mental health, particularly with our higher than average income. Right, $18,000. I mean, it's worth it to be debt free to a lot of people. So I did it on January 1st. Went in and paid the whole lump sum remainder of my loans. Felt kind of sick about it. I only still feel a little sick about it, and I'm posting here to try and let go of that residual stress of hurting my family by making the wrong choice. Well, yeah, I mean that can do that if you have a pile of money saved up and you don't have that money anymore. Because you were in debt, though, you really didn't have that anyway. So, debt free. Every penny coming in the account, free to use. Don't have to stress about Biden or student loan forgiveness. Don't have to worry about credit score being low by large debt. We get to invest for our new baby. We have the freedom to save and then buy a van for our baby. If this next deployment, leaving my wife again, and now my new baby is too much, I can say I've served for 7 years and that's enough for my country. It's time to focus more on the family. And can walk away and not be tied to the government with the golden handcuffs equals promise of PSLF. And it's not a promise. If there's 96% rejection, that's not a promise. We're debt free. Burner account for privacy. Edit added per year to salary. All right. Well, yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations. You did the right thing. How did you pay about $4K per month on that salary? $140K a year, not overall during that 24 months, right? So it's $280 during that 24 months. And so, yep, cheaper apartment, car in mid 2010s. So, yeah, good job. Add. All right, second job, baby step 6 flare right here. So that is paying off the house. So must be done with the college savings, perhaps. Or he's doing 4, 5, and 6, and just put 6 because, or she, Dark Templar. Okay. Trying to pay off house, and it will take about 2 years or so to do it. Is it okay to get a second job seasonally to pay off the house roughly in 21 months instead of 24, or do I seem ridiculous? I want maybe to finish this journey and get to baby step 6, and primary job doesn't offer overtime. No, second job for the Christmas season for the next 2 years. Yeah, that's fine. 3 months isn't that long, but yeah, if you want to do that, you absolutely can. You can actually take a second job for more than just the Christmas season and pay it off even quicker than that if you want. But as far as just cutting 3 months off of it, that's not really that much cut off of it. I understand you want to get it done, and so if you do, that's great, but I wouldn't make that a like imperative. But it's up to you. Whatever you want to do. Like I said, if you if you want to get it done with, get a different job that lets you work now, not just Christmas season. This person would not get it to reduce it by 3 months. Saving 3 months in baby step 6 isn't much of a difference. If it meant getting to baby step 7 in 12 months instead of 24, consider that. Right. Let's see. Excitement and not being patient is a rush. Baby step 7 seems like it's going to be the funniest. I think they mean the most fun. the funnest. So yeah, I like to cut grass. You can cut grass when it's not Christmas season then. So go ahead. Why work a second job for 20 more months to get debt free versus not working a second job to get debt free in 3 months longer? Well, it's not. It's just during the Christmas season for 2 years. That person deleted their account. Seems a little over the top. But what else are you going to do with your time? Yeah. Well, and this person gives examples, even though this person is Dave-ish. So it's, yeah, if you're going to be hiding at home alone watching reruns of Family Feud, then yes, get a second and third job. If you're going to be at home caring for your kids, loving your spouse, then I vote home. If you're going to be spending most of the time instead of working, getting into the great outdoors and exercising and socializing, vote outdoors. So if you have a spouse, what do they say? Yeah. Good, all good questions. Interest rate. Somebody wants to know the interest rate on the mortgage. All right, that's a lot. Are you asking if it's better to get out of debt free faster? It is, but yeah, it's just seasonally, and so like I said, if you have time seasonally, then maybe see if you have time the whole year, and you can pay it even faster. Alrighty. This from Throwaway 8429739. Should I pause baby step 2 until I have my budget pre-funded? What does that mean? I have a great deal of stress in my life stemming from running out of money each month. I've been homeless before, and maybe it comes from that. Would it be smart to get a month ahead on bills and have that in the bank before proceeding on debt paydown? You have $1,000 emergency fund. That should be all you get. So no, that's all you get, and you're supposed to be stressed, running out of money each month. So you work more, spend less to get out of debt quicker, and that's probably, yeah. You didn't even know how much cushion you need in the month. Like for example, generally, like say you get paid. A lot of people get paid twice a month. Get paid every 2 weeks, and sometimes you get a check, and then like say if your rent is due after that check that you got will not cover the full amount of the rent and all the other expenses that you have for that half of the month. And so you do sometimes need some saved from the previous check to make it be enough to pay that. But yeah, no, Paul, you should have $1,000 emergency fund, and so that's not that won't be if you're about to be homeless. If something like that's going to happen, that would be an emergency, and so then you would use your $1,000 emergency fund. So and $1,000 should be. I mean, I hope you don't have $1,000 in bills. I mean, I know the rent would be. If you're including rent as well, that would probably be a little bit more, but $1,000 would probably take care of you for all the things that you're worried about. Oh, let's see. This from Johnny Bluesman. Baby step 4 flair right there. Love Day Ramsey. I have a question about saving for kids' college. Following the baby steps. I'm 44. He is 14. How do I put it away and let the market do something? Well, it's too late. Unless you can cash flow community college when he's 18. You can cash flow the community college. Then you do have over 5 years. So then you could just put that in a ESA or 529, which those would be growth. The growth would not be taxed on that as long as it's used for um, educational expenses. So then, yeah, you should. So that depends. Otherwise, you're going to need it before then. So you wouldn't want to lock it all up in a educational savings account or 529 or even a non-retirement brokerage account, because then you're at the mercy of, well, if the market's down, you'd have to take it out right when you need it, and it might be down. After 4 years, it might be down. The minimum Dave recommends is 5 years because the market has always been up every single 5 year period since the market began. So 5 years is the minimum for investing, for saving it for a purchase. And generally, you would normally you would have more time. Your child would be younger, but when you discover Dave later or make the progress slowly, and it takes you long, and your child is not that far from college age, yeah, that limits what you can do with it. Genuinely interested. This from, glad I had the capital line because I dropped that. Frequent Stallion 32. Genuinely interested. This could take a turn here. This sounds like it's setting you up. It's setting you up with honey, and then there's going to be some garbage here. We'll see. I enjoy watching the Ramsey show because of the entertainment value, and think it's very interesting to hear other people's story. Been a fan for years now. However, I think it's widely agreed that his advice is not optimal for building wealth. The advice he gives is cookie cutter and uniform, cookie cuter and uniform, regardless of an individual's unique situation. That's right, because your unique individual situation doesn't matter. I know everybody thinks they need, or everybody's special, and, well, I do my life this way. No, the best thing to do is what Dave recommends. So you can either follow that advice or you don't have to. Just follow it or don't follow it. Well, there's no need to debate it. Dave's not changing his mind. This stuff has worked for 30 years for him. He's been given the same advice for 30 years. They have a live stream on Thursday night. It's called Building Wealth in 2022. I would guarantee that it's all the same advice. They may have a new presentation of it, but I will let you know if if there's something new, something changed, or anything that he hasn't already said. And so it's going to be something he already said. He may apply it specifically to 2022. He may apply it to people's inflation worries, the high cost of houses, high cost of used cars, high cost of new cars, etc., etc. So he may apply it to specifics of 2022, but it's going to be the same advice, I assure you. Okay, let's continue. An individual's unique situation doesn't matter. You're not the exception is commonly heard. Maybe you heard that sometime on the Ramsey show. You're not the exception is the dealio. Anyone who is financially literate and studies other financial experts would conclude that his advice is suboptimal. Don't follow it then. Having said that, if you actually follow his advice, do you realize that following the baby... do you believe his advice is the best, or do you just follow it because so many others do? Generally curious why so many people follow what he says, regardless of the lack of mathematical and financial evidence to support his claims. So I knew the generally interested, like I said, I knew it was going to take a turn there. Let's see. I think most realize the plan is not perfect, but it's fairly decent. Many years of credit cards, etc., is better than what most do. Disagree with them on FICO score, of course. It's widely agreed by people who are broke that his advice is not optimal, right? People thinking they can do it better. Yeah, I mean, if you do this plan, it does work for you. And, I mean, maybe if you do some things differently, maybe when you retire, you have 7 million as opposed to 5 million. Dave says shut up in that case. So, yeah. So, I mean, you can always do it. You can always do it and then don't complain if it doesn't work out for you. So, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, do Ramsey fans that think Ramsey is right, do you think they go on other people's shows and other people's threads and stuff like that and say, I'm genuinely curious, do you people really believe this? So, I just don't see that happening. It could though. It could. Let's see. Okay, this person is fighting back. Infantry Rocks is taking up the Dave mantle there. Actually disagree with you. This from Dave Ish again. If you think somebody's going to agree, it's going to be Dave Ish. But actually disagree with your assessment of wealth strategy. Not a financial professional. I don't interact with financial professionals. As a family and representative of the FI I choose to use. Financial institution I choose to use. I think he's right that mutual funds and real estate are the way to go. Yeah. I don't want the hassle of rental property. So for me, it's mutual funds. Exactly. Same. Has an individual stock, but less than Dave Ramsey's limit. That's generic advice, not just from Dave Ramsey. Took some actively managed mutual funds as well as index funds. Don't use a SmartVestor Pro. His advice to use SmartVestor Pro to choose actively managed funds that beat the market is mathematically correct. If an actively managed fund beats an index fund after fees, then it's a better choice. Right, absolutely. But you have to know when to get out because the fund is going stale or bad or whatever. That is true as well. So you do have to pay attention. So I'm Dave Ish. Nice to meet you. We're debt free except for the credit card debt we incur and pay off in full every month. See, this guy is Dave Ish. So, but he disagrees with him about the assessment of the wealth strategy. So let's see. If I suboptimally became a millionaire following the steps and I'm cool, I don't spend a lot of my time on worrying about having more under different circumstances. That's correct. Comfortable and happy. I don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good. Yo. You're right. That's excellent. Yeah, that's what it is. And that's basically just what I said. If you can do it a different way and get 7 million instead of 5 million, do it. And don't worry about the people that are doing it and just going to get 5 million. They'll be okay. Yeah, this person thinks most people are Davish, not going to pay down the 2.625 interest rate, going to invest instead. They can mathematically prove it's causing more substantially more wealth than a lesser mortgage. The reason for not doing that is that debt is guaranteed. The investment profit is not guaranteed. Here we go, right there. Did not respond to that. OP, what's your net worth looking like? He did not say that. So, somebody that has a higher net worth than you and made plenty of money and is not upset about it at all is Dave Ramsey. And so, it worked for him, it can work for any of us. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, right. But this kind of stuff, this does get the conversation going. You can see how many comments are on there. Alrighty, this from Hung Home. In baby step 2, we had a clear. Oh, not sure what to do. That. In baby step 2, we had a clear goal. Then immediately after that, we focused on saving for a wedding, honeymoon, and eventually a house. Should have been baby step 3, emergency fund. Wedding and honeymoon could have waited till after that, at least. Now, wedding and honeymoon are behind us, and we have 250K in savings. Okay, you're probably all right then. I currently live in LA and don't plan to buy a house here. We'll move back to the East Coast in 1 to 2 years. My question is, what do I do next? We put 15% retirement. I think we have enough for 20% down on a house where we plan to move. We do eventually have kids. We do plan to eventually have kids. So we start putting money in 529. You do not put a 529. You can't do those until the child is of age. You could open it in your name and then transfer it later, but something may happen. You might never have children. So always thought you would start that after you had kids, right? So don't. Is it smart to keep saving cash? You can't hurt. And the more down payment you have, the less mortgage you have to take out. Should we start putting money in index funds? Currently, everything is in a high yield savings account where we're getting, approximately $1,200 per year in interest. That's not bad. That's $1,200 a year. If you have 5 years before you're going to need the money, Dave is fine with you putting that in an S&P 500 index fund. But you have to have the 5 years, not need it before that, because it could be down right the second when you need it. Yeah, until they are born. You can put it with a different, yourself, right, and change the benefit of the first child once they have their, that's what I said. Exactamundo, increased tax advantage savings, 40 whatever, XX, Roth IRA, HSA. That's a health savings account. We keep what you need for 20% down. Payment is something safe, like high yield savings accounts. 1 to 2 years is too short a time frame to really invest it, right? That's what I said. It's got to be 5 years. So, all right. Cool. But that does happen. Like baby step 2 and 3. You're scrambling, gazelle intense, and then you hit step 4 and it all slows down. And because the goals are longer term and a higher slow accumulation of wealth that's happening, and a slow accumulation like of savings for kid college, etc., it's not as exciting, and so you don't get as much adrenaline rush, and so people do have a problem adjusting to it. Time is it? Oh, 9:02. We'll do 1 or 2 more. What percentage of your monthly income goes towards debt if baby step 2 or savings? I get it. Savings if baby steps 3 through 7, and no percentage. There's no percentage that goes towards debt. You make the minimum payments, and everything extra goes to the smallest debt. Let's see. Questions in the title. We'll chime in later. No judgment. Everyone is just doing the best they can, and all of us have different circumstances. It can be helpful to see how everyone divides up their monthly income to the various needs, wants, and goals. You don't have any wants in baby step 2. Your want in baby step 2 is to pay off your debt. So you don't really do that. So there's no percentage. People love to ask that. What percentage do I need to put of my income to put in my emergency fund? What amount do I need to save for my emergency fund? That depends on your monthly It's 3 to 6 months of your individual. And this is where you can be an individual, because your amount of expenses are going to be more or less than anybody else's. It's going to be different. So here's where you can be a unique individual and have your own amount of monthly expenses. And so then you just multiply that by 3 or by 6 if you've decided to have a 3 or 6 month emergency fund. If your life is chill, you have no life or job drama at all, there's nothing going to happen to your job, it's not going away, there's no way, 3 months is fine. If there's a little bit of drama, then maybe you want to kick it up to maybe 6 month emergency fund. Also, if you or spouse would sleep better at night with a 6 month emergency fund, do that. It's fine. Although I have had people that um, wanted to they wanted the 6 month for the security of it, but then when they wanted to do like some extra investing or buy something else, then they were fine with taking it down to 3 months. So it's like, what happened to your security plan there? You just wanted to you know, spend the money somehow, you know, otherwise, just to have the extra savings before, just so you could spend it later. And so, I mean, you could consider that, like, I guess, like extension of like a sinking fund kind of thing, but inside the baby step three at the same time. But that does happen. All right, and so yeah, there's no it's no percentage of your monthly income that goes towards debt. It is everything except your minimum payments and all of your expenses. And if after those are paid, it is whatever's left, and all that goes towards your baby step two, except your $1,000 emergency fund. And savings, baby steps 3 2 through 7. Baby step 3 is the same. You should still be gazelle intense, and you should not chill out until you get that full emergency fund, whatever you've decided for it to be, either 3 months or 6 months. Um, so that's going to be just whatever else you have left after paying the minimums on everything, and then also paying rent and all your other expenses. And then once you get to baby step 3, you don't have any more debt, so you're just paying your expenses and then yourself. You're building Murphy repellent, a little buffer between you and life there. And that would be the money where previously you might have put that on a credit card when you had some kind of emergency. Now you don't have to, because you have cash. And that is the beauty of the emergency fund. But as far as savings, there's not really savings in baby steps 4 through 7. Not savings per se. You might have some savings in a sinking fund. For example, if you're saving X amount of dollars per month to apply to Christmas presents in December. I know some people have some clients that do start saving in January for Christmas presents, and so that would be a form of saving. You would be saving that $10 or whatever a month, and or for like anything else, if you know you need tires, that kind of thing, that could be considered a savings as well, and that's a sinking fund. But as far as building up a savings to just have extra money other than what is in your emergency fund, that doesn't exist. All that should be going to the mortgage. So it's 15%. You're paying all your bills, your rent or mortgage, any expense you have, any other expenses you have. 15% is being invested. Kid college, if you have kids, at least something, even if they're little babies, you just throw a couple bucks a month, $10 a month or whatever. You can kick it up later if you need to. You can figure out exactly how much you want to have when they're 18 and divide it by 18 years, and then that's how much you have to save per year. So, and then every bit of money that's left over goes to the house. You don't keep extra savings unless you actually need it for something, because your thing to have it for security, that's all the emergency fund. Sorry. So there's no percentage. All right, here you go. WWDD. What would Dave do? 909. We'll end on this one. Repair or sell the truck. So I'm very undecided how to proceed here. I have a 2010 Ram 1500 Sport with 123,000 miles on it. Body and interior in pretty good shape. They're not perfect. Few paint blemishes, who cares? And a rip in the driver's seat, who cares? Per KBB and nada, private party would be somewhere around 15 to 16K. Trade in 11 to 12%. You're not trading in, you sell private party, you get more, as you just can see by that. I have one offer from Carfax for 11,700. If you can sell it private party for 15 to 16, sell it for private party for 15 or 16. The problem I have with the truck is I believe the camshaft and lifters need to be replaced. How much is that? When trying to leave town to travel for Christmas, the engine started missing so much that it was shaking the whole truck at highway speeds. The CEL, no clue what that is, blinked as it was missing, but did not stay on. The stored code was a cylinder 3 misfire, which all would back up the cam lifter's thought process. Okay, this is a very common issue with the Hemi motor that is in my truck, has tens of thousands across a decade worth of year models every spring. According to searching internet forums from people who've already had this repair, and my dad, who has owned an auto repair shop for 30 years, this is a 4 or 5K $1,000 job. I'd get my dad to fix it, but I live too far away to drive it without concern of doing more damage. Options wing. Do you spend the money to fix the truck? Probably. What year did he say? 2010? Yeah. Probably fix the truck. Putting roughly 1/3 of his value into it just to keep it on the road. If there's other problems with it, then you may want to dump it. If you're gonna spend 1/3 of it, of the value on it, if you think it's gonna have other problems, if it actually has other problems other than the rip in the seat, who cares? What was the other thing? Some paint blemishes, who cares? Why even mention paint blemishes? Or do I try to sell it with a known issue and take a hit on the sales price? You can try either way. Fears if I sell it, even if I were to fix it before, and I wouldn't be able to replace it with a similar vehicle due to the current used car market. That's right. If you want a similar vehicle, use that one. Have that one be the similar vehicle, and you just got to repair it then. You said you have to repair it beforehand anyway to get that amount of price there. I'm assuming the private party 15 to 16K private sale, that number is for a non cylinder 3 misfiring truck, I'm assuming. I'd likely have to buy a beater to get around, losing the 4-wheel drive that is needed when it snows in my area. How often is that? Is that for 2 or 3 times a year or what? People justify everything, but that's like somebody getting a new car and they have to use it to take their child to the doctor 3 or 4 times a year, and so you need a new car to do that. You don't. You can use an Uber or Lyft or get a friend to do it, to take you there, etc., etc. 110K household gross, 125K mortgage is the only debt, 20K in emergency fund, which is about 6.5 months. Okay, so you take that emergency fund down to 6 months, and then you have some of the money for the repair. Then repair it. Let's see what people think. If you're gonna buy a truck now anyway, I'd do the repair. If you were willing to buy something else entirely, I'd say. Sounds like you require a truck, and he doesn't require it. He wants it, I think. The 4-wheel drive needed when it snows in the area. Again, I don't know where you live, dog. You know whether you need one or not. Can you replace your truck with the money the repair will cost you, especially one that already had the problematic lifters replaced? If not, then fix it. Yep, he can't. Because that's only going to be, what, $5,000, something like that? What did he say? What did he say? 1/3 of its value, which is $5,000. Yeah, pay the $5,000 and then you still have a truck. That is great for when it snows in your area. This is the worst market in lifetime to buy. I'm 42. Yeah, probably the worst market ever to buy in. Would repair it and drive it to 200K. That's right. It ought to last fine till that. Yep. And how far away is your dad? And what could he do it for if he could save you money? At least look at the cost of different ways to get it. Yeah, borrow a truck and rent a car trailer from you all. Exactly. Hire a car transporter to haul it there. Fly or pay your dad to come to you. You know, just some idea. Yep. If the bill in this repair is 4 to 5K, that gives you some good money to play with. I'm assuming your offer, assuming no major mechanical issues. I agree with others. It sounds like it's worth fixing. Yeah. Yup. Yup. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. We can go as far as say it's an emergency. No, it's not quite an emergency stage yet, but he has a 6.5. So some of that could go to it, and so he does have it laying there if he does have to take from the emergency fund. It would hopefully only be temporary, and then he could build the rest of the emergency fund back up. It's not really about spending the money. More, should I invest such a large part of the value back into it when it's not gaining? The way it gains for you is you don't have to buy a new car. And so, yeah, fix the truck and drive around if you can't fix anymore, or the vehicle market regains its sanity. Power year due to repair and keep it. The radio head unit touchscreen is going bad and needs replaced, but it doesn't keep me from using it or driving the truck. Great. Yep. Yep. Take it and have a mechanic actually look at the whole thing and see if there's anything else wrong with it. Casey feels like he's gotten more intense for baby step 3B than he has for 3. I can understand that. That depends on the individual. If you like safety and you have a security gland thing happening, you might be more intense on 3 because that's more of a big buffer between you and bad luck. But if you are into getting a house, if that's really, really important to you, that would make 3B better for you. Alrighty, well, it is 9:17, so I guess at the 1:17 mark we will be done. Once again, what's happening in Ramsey World? Tomorrow, Baby Steps Millionaires, book by Dave Ramsey, comes out. Wednesday, the 12th, is George Camel's Debt Free Scream in the 3rd hour, which is the last 40 minutes of the video. And Thursday night, the 13th, is the Build Wealth. I think I have it right here still. Yes. The Building Wealth in 2022. Join Dave Ramsey, Rachel Cruz, and George Camel to learn how to build wealth the right way. And I'm guessing the right way is the same advice that he's been giving for 30 years. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not really any new information, but the way it's presented to tie it in with stuff that's happening now, the inflation, the car market, the new car market, the used car market, the housing market, all that might be brought up and it might be applied to that, is how it would make this stream different than any other stream where he talked about the baby steps, etc. So, and that is January 13th, 7 p.m. Central Time, which is in real time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, which is the best time, I think. Alrighty, and as far as my plugs, they are at the top of the chat and in the video description below. Schedule a free financial coaching consultation assessment at calendly.com and /CoachSteveMoney. Sorry, calendly.com/CoachSteveMoney. You can email me about anything. Oh, that side, I always forget. Email me about anything, CoachSteveMoney@gmail.com. And donations. Don't have enough subscribers yet to get money from YouTube, which that'll be glorious day when that happens. But it hasn't yet. And Twitch, I don't even know. I mean, we have a couple followers over there. But I haven't even, not enough for me to even look at to see what the minimum requirements are to be monetized over there. So until then, you can donate to paypal.me/CoachSteveMoney, and much appreciated. Upcoming streams, of course, the Ramsey Show After Show is 6 p.m. weeknights after the Ramsey Show video is over. Oh yeah, what am I gonna do about? No, I'll still do the I'll still do the from 6 to 7 Eastern time. I'll still do the after show because that's an hour before the event starts. So yeah, I'll still do that on Thursday. Where was I? Oh, the upcoming streams. What else? Next Monday night, this was Ramsey Coach Support. Next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time will be Tech Support with Coach Steve Money. Wednesdays, no set time. That's when the Curse of Oak Island recap is uploaded, recorded and uploaded at some point on Wednesday. I never know what time I'm going to be able to watch it, so that does fluctuate throughout the day when I can watch that, and I got to prepare it and then record it and then upload it, and so but normally that's going to be done by 8 p.m. on Wednesday night, and Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. I do old man video gaming. I play single player games, and lately it's been Rise of the Tomb Raider, and so that will probably be at Wednesday. May have a bonus one in there at some point, but I do play other games as well. And is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's enough, probably. That's enough, probably. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. You have a good night too, Casey. Alrighty. Make smart financial decisions every day.